culture is actually pretty good.
We've got like egg in there.
And the kick runs into the end zone. That is a touchdown.
Seeing ghosts. Tonight on Dallas. Treason, treachery, clapping. It's all in the Cowboys locker room as no one knows who to trust. Jerry Boy wants to choke a bitch, but he enjoys being a puppeteer too much to do anything. Even in a must-win matchup against the Chicago Bears, them boys can't stop fighting with each other and undermining the team. Mitch Trubisky was made to look like an all-pro against this sad sack of a defense. Who can make a tackle? Who is merely waiting for a new contract? Who even cares? You thought they bottomed out last week? Just witness this travesty of a game. Dak's stat line says it all. A bunch of individual accomplishments masking the fact that they played like shit. Tonight, there is no clapping. We only get quietly stewing Jason Garrett is left to be exiled to the Giants next year. Oh, Jerry Boy, someday you'll put your ego aside and not lash out at the media for your team being terrible. Somehow, Dallas still leads the NFC East and the Redskins can still win the division. How will the Cowboys set themselves on fire next week? When will the Clapmaster be given an extension by Jerry Jones? Tune in next time to find out on Dallas. Death. It is inevitable, but for the Detroit Lions, this occurs every year. It may be against the Packers, sometimes the Bears, but today the executioner is Minnesota. When you have nothing but some string and a few loogies as your defense, your ass will be beaten into the ground with a falcon punch. The Vikings won't have to do much. A passing play here or there should be enough, especially with David Blau experiencing the typical rookie hazing. At this point, I just lose out. There's nothing to win besides pretending Matt Patricia is the answer. Minnesota will make sure of it as they get a needed win in the playoff race. Do you remember the last time these two met? It involved Atlanta finding traces of offense to assemble a spectacular performance. Carolina's defense thought it was facing a Rubik's Cube as they were massacred. Just take what I said from there and paste it here. The only differences were that it's in Atlanta and Kyle Allen wasn't completely terrible. His receivers and the defense were, though. The Panthers season just played out like last year again, only there was little hope of playoffs before the team collapsed on itself. In the rubble, you'll find your certificate of failure. The end of an era. How do you feel that you'll be more known for Cam Newton's Super Bowl gaffe and walkout than your great teams? That's the price of not getting it done. Maybe the next coach will. Hey Houston, great job on the win last week. Fuck. Excuse me. Texans, what were you doing over this past week? When we tell you that you played an outstanding game, you don't act like it's winning the Super Bowl. At home against a Denver team starting a rookie quarterback, this should have been cake. They were fucking dominated. In every facet. Your secondary is full of first-round talent, yet they're only good for a first round of drinks. They made Drew Lock look like Patrick fucking Mahomes. If you hear neighing, it's John Elway getting moist from his performance. Deshaun Watson couldn't get anything going until late in the game. Perhaps you won't get cocky next time and realize the Belichick curse is real. Oh, you beat New England, but the price you'll pay is dear to your soul. We see the aftermath here. Get it fixed, Billy. I have never seen a win look more like a devastating loss, but somehow the Cleveland Browns did it. It's a home game, it's against the Bungles, everything should be lining up for a beatdown against their rival, but it has the stench of decay. Instead of coming out firing on all cylinders, Cleveland is ridiculously flat. Why do I sense that the entire team is just checked out? A team with this much talent being so deflated? This shouldn't have even been a game, yet it was. Fortunately, the Browns do the bare minimum to win. They look like shit doing so. Baker Mayfield played terrible football with his injury. The offense was totally out of sync, the defense being bailed out by Cincy's awful offense more often than not. After the victory, everyone is sitting around dejected. Baker put management on blast for botching OBJ's nagging groin injury. Beckham himself might be ready to get the fuck out of Dodge. May I remind you that the Browns won this game. It felt like a funeral, only in Cleveland. Bruce Allen is whispering sweet nectar into Dan Snyder's ear. We can still make the playoffs, Dan. I only need 10 years to make sure a wildcard loss is a reality. We can do this together. It'll take a miracle to get over the hump of Green Bay and Lambeau, but crazier things have happened. This is even when teams like the Packers jump out to a 14-point lead. They feel like toying with their prey. Let them think that they can win this game. They'll just have the offense shut down and say it's because of underlying flaws in game planning. They'll beg Dwayne Haskins to throw it on them, but he can't because he's rawer than sushi. Any chance they have of winning is lost as they are too late. Redskins, the dream is over. I will react to this news like the fans feel about the team, by giving 0 fucks. Hail to the Deadskins. Now here's a matchup I've been looking forward to. Two up-and-coming franchises in the AFC boasting young quarterbacks and strong defenses. What a better atmosphere for such an affair like the drunken arms of Bills Mafia. The scrums and trenches would be hotly contested. These games are a battle of inches, even with the weapons that both teams have. Throughout the day, Baltimore would continually prove themselves superior. It has nothing to do with the Bills' defense, they were as stout as ever. It's the typical flaw that hurts Buffalo. A stagnant offense. Yes, you can say Baltimore is a great defense as well, but I'd be more worried about Josh Allen's inability to generate any momentum against such resistance. That or how often he dies in the pocket. Lamar, even for his issues, managed to lead the Ravens down the field on numerous occasions. Josh, even with the game in grasp, could not. In front of Bills Mafia, the Ravens open up a treasure chest. It has a playoff berth. I'm impressed. Lamar Jackson has come so far in such a short amount of time. It'll be a treat to watch as he beats everyone with his arm and legs. Just don't ruin him, Baltimore, for all of our sakes. A MetLife grudge match to set the stage for the ultimate event, Tank Bowl Redux. The Jets are looking for a little more out of their personnel, especially after last time these two met. Let us not discuss it. The Dolphins are even putting together a personal challenge this time to make the tank even harder to ruin. Field goals only. Jason Sanders was pretty busy, going 7 of 8 with the boot, but this is Miami. As long as the Jets play like they did against the Raiders, they'll be fine. I hate to play spoiler, but they don't. The result is a game that was ugly to most in attendance. The only value for Tank watching. Both were destined to duel in a game that one team unfortunately had to win. The field goals would be extra fierce in the fourth quarter. Both teams trading leads left and right until Miami did the unthinkable. They had the lead with 2 minutes left. A horrible sight. May the children be protected from such a fate. But look beyond and see great news. The NFL is intervening. The rule everyone bitches about does nothing. It managed to change the game. The Shield did something right today. It saved us all from mutually assured destruction. Peace is restored. The Dolphins' tank is safe, and the Jets keep jetting. It's apparent to everyone but 2 people that Adam Gase was a terrible hire who has learned nothing from his time in Miami. He will still be here, as the Johnsons wouldn't know logic if it threw a snifter of bourbon in their faces. Enjoy more hell. This game is must-win for the Colts. After a skit featuring several increasingly humiliating defeats, they get a team that will test their offensive might in the Buccaneers. Jameis Winston is a very peculiar being. He will sky the rock for incredible feats of football, only to relapse into his desires for culinary excellence. We got the best of both worlds today. Savory touchdowns and tasty turnovers. Indianapolis keeps getting gifts from Tampa, yet can't truly pull away. The Bucs' offensive attack is just too potent for the Colts defense to keep up. Although this shouldn't be this difficult since they're without Mike Evans. So what's the excuse? You know the stakes. Even with a 14-point lead, nothing has shown me the confidence that you will hold. Let's put that to the test. They counter with a touchdown, you settle for a 3 and out. They put more points on the board, yet the Colts decide it's a good idea to volunteer for a batch of turnovers in field goal range. Speaking of turnovers, you're in the red zone yet piss yourselves into a donut. You would be shocked to learn that this miss wasn't by Vinatieri. He's out for the game, just as Indy's defense seems to be, as Tampa Bay can accrue yardage at will. The collapse is imminent as the Buccaneers cannot be stopped.
Fresh set of downs. Winston to the end zone. Back shoulder. Caught for the touchdown.
Failure. Do you smell it? It's permeating from the direction of Indianapolis. I'd get that checked if I were you. I'd also check your invoice, Tampa Bay. Your playoff hopes have lapsed into receivership. Such a frustrating team. Jameis would be elite if he just stopped turning the damn ball over, but I don't think he will. What do you do now? Blow it up and start over? I'd consider it if I were you. Perhaps someday these two teams will rediscover this magical thing called defense. It's when you eventually stop the momentum of the offensive threat by means of big plays and strong stops. Yes, boys and girls, defense decided to take an unexcused vacation. Not to dismiss either team's offensive attack. It was less a force and more a runaway locomotive. All Eli Apple could do is stand there and get pummeled with targets all game long. It was the NFL version of Alabama versus Auburn. You look away from the TV for just a second and the score will suddenly change. When both teams combine for over 700 yards passing, over 980 total yards, 131 first downs, and 94 points, you will see Marty Schottenheimer cry himself into a coma. Does make for some exciting football though. Neck and neck matching, blow for blow, going 12 rounds with neither side showing signs of stopping the onslaught. I would not recommend watching if you have heart problems. You will not last the night.
Has time, throwing over the middle, caught, Smith breaks the tackle at the 10, still going, touchdown, New Orleans!
There's one problem here. The Saints left too much time on the clock. 50 seconds is an eternity in this game, especially only up 1 point. This is when George Kittle turns into the goddamn Hulk.
Garoppolo fires, it is caught, still on his feet is Kittle with a big play, and the stiff arm, George Kittle, flags fly, he's down to the 30!
It's like a moment when a dad is trying to shake off his kids for his prized seat on the couch. Nothing will deter him. Fuck you, you little brats. Daddy wants to watch his Sports Center.
Snap is high, the kick is up, and it is good!
I think that deserves a celebratory keg, eh, George? Go ahead. You've earned it, man. Another day in the world of Jacksonville. Are you familiar with the Japanese flag? That is what their assholes looked like after this game. It was annihilation of every sphincter in Duval, and they used cayenne pepper to leave a lingering aftertaste. We tend to forget that Phillip Rivers can throw the football, and the solution was to put him against the withered remains of Saxonville. It was also his birthday. The gift he got was to deliver the killing blow to your season. You had one flash in the pan, and now you're back to being the forgotten lolcow with no end in sight. Throwing $50 million guaranteed at a situational quarterback is looking good, ain't it? Now your prized defense is a heap of garbage, and you're losing Ngakoue as well. Father Coughlin should hopefully get the axe for his antiquated management. Aw, Chargers, don't feel left out. The football gods want to share the love. This season was so Chargers that you could replace it with any of their San Diego failures and not tell the difference. A total waste of talent because management forgot to give a shit about the offensive line. That and Phillip Rivers may be finished here. He will throw 3 interceptions in the red zone in his honor. Oakland, you know the drill by now. A painful skid against opponents that increasingly kick your ass thanks to defensive flaws that ruin your playoff dreams continues. Did you want to see Josh Jacobs? Too bad, he's injured enough for the game. You get in his stead Derrick Henry to bulldoze this stadium and replace it with a graveyard. Ryan Tannehill will join him in the demolition. He's been freed from his vices of injuries and Adam Gase. The result has been the realization of his long-lost potential. An extension is in the works for him to be the new Titans quarterback for a while to come. Let's just hope this isn't the Fitzception situation where he just falls off a cliff afterwards. I'm gonna be honest, this is the kind of game the Steelers usually lose. Headed to the Southwest against a team that looks terrible on paper but is eager to play. Spoiler, the threat of playing down to competition lurking around every corner. However, they really didn't. They had issues, yes, but they played a solid team game against the Cardinals. It helps that they kept things efficient for 60 minutes and there were terrible towels everywhere, but this has me surprised. I was expecting a humiliating defeat due to past experiences. Jordan Berry malfunctioned and forgot how to punt the ball. This should be where they lose. However, they don't. Kyler Murray made rookie mistakes while Duck Hodges didn't kill the team. The defense would do the rest. I'm still shocked this team became likable. When the hell did that happen? So the Chiefs accidentally sent their equipment out to New Jersey instead of Foxborough. Smells like some shenanigans out of the Belichick playbook, but it's a serious issue. Kansas City may not even get the chance to play as they might have to forfeit. Thanks to the powers of warp drives and probable 3D printing, the game was saved. The Chiefs had equipment and drive. They remembered what happened to them at Arrowhead back in January, as today would be revenge. The first half was convincingly lopsided. New England's offense is looking like shit, which is the typical play of a team quietly lulling its rivals into a false sense of security. She knows when to strike, and it's usually in the playoffs. For the meantime, the talking heads will declare the Patriots is dead. I made the same mistake last year, but we know more bullshit will emerge. It's happening in the second half. The Chiefs' offense was smothered on all fronts by an awakening beast. New England sleepwalks their way within 8 points of tying the game. So what kind of bullshit will happen? Oh, the Patriots were the victims of ref ball today. And everyone says they get all the calls. Ref ball plays no favorites. Everyone must suffer equally. It was just New England's turn. Kansas City wins their Super Bowl and also wins the AFC West. Pretty predictable, but I have no idea how they'll do come playoff time. Their defense is still a mess as the moves they made had minimal impact, but Mahomes is always there. They're gonna fall to New England again, aren't they? Really, New England? Are you that desperate to get an edge on your opponent? You're now being accused of spying on the Bungles? There's no need to spy on them, Bill. Their entire game plan is based around acquiring Joe Burrow. Let's add some context. The Patriots video team was recording an advanced scout in Cleveland for a video series they do. If you remember, the Browns were facing the Bungles. This recording included gathering footage of the Bengals sideline, a big no-no in the football world. And knowing the Patriots' sordid history with taping opposing teams, you know what happens next. They even admitted to doing it, allegedly inadvertently. Sorry, New England, you aren't getting the benefit of the doubt on this one, even if it seems like an honest mistake. Easier to embrace the stale memes. The Rams are also in must-win territory if they want any hope of maintaining a shot at a playoff berth. Facing a Seahawks team interested in maintaining the division lead, it would be a tough challenge. They made it look easy. Total domination on both sides of the ball from start to finish. Who knew that the secret to unlocking the Rams' offensive attack was Arizona? Even with Jared Goff accruing yardage, Seattle could get nothing going. The defense of LA utterly stuffed them on every front. Not a simple thing to do with their ground game. An uphill battle from the start was made to look like a breeze. The Rams finally achieved their full potential, but is it too late? They're only a game back, but they'll have to pray the Vikings implode. Now we wait and see if the lazy basement-dwelling son known as the Philadelphia Eagles will manage to get off his ass and do the dishes. There's a nice share of the NFC East Division lead in it for him. They don't even have to face Daniel Jones, he's injured. They get to face his father in Eli Manning. Laughter ensues. Eli unveils some of his magical derping to Darius Slayton to cause the Link to raise their collective blood pressures by 30 points. When you trail 17-3 at half to one of the worst teams in football, I think it's justifiable that you boo the shit out of them. Now they're down to 2 healthy wide receivers and their offense is hot puke. How the hell do they come back now? Oh yeah, that's right, the Giants are even more of a mistake upon humanity. Eli suddenly ages 20 years. Nate Solder becomes the most overpaid turnstile in the NFL, and New York's defense cuts out the act of pretending to be competent. They willingly give the Eagles' offense training wheels to let them back into the game. Going into overtime, facing a team now with one active wideout, I can think of one thing. When are Pat Shurmur and Dave Gettleman getting fired for this ass berth? Thanks to their inadvertent tank and 9-game losing streak, Philadelphia drunkenly stumbles into a tie with Dallas. One of these teams will get a home playoff game. That is pathetic. The gods always demand sacrifice. Let us lament those we have lost this week.
Unit lost. 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 Unit lost.
May the fallen be blessed in the football afterlife. Amen.
Garoppolo fires, it is caught, still on his feet is Kittle with a big play, and the stiff arm, George Kittle, flags fly, he's down to the 30! What a run by George Kittle! Taking on everybody, but the penalty is huge, there are multiple flags.